Fearful avoidants often move through a cycle of an anger outburst followed by shame, followed by more anger or withdrawal. At the beginning, they see that they burst out in anger because they were hurt or they were scared, and they didn't address that with their partner. Then, when their partner receives this volatility and the fearful avoidant sees that the partner has either withdrawn or has explained that they feel very, very hurt, then the fearful avoidant switches on. They activate towards the relationship and they try to heal the relationship. They apologize profusely. They feel shame. They feel guilt. They try to help their partner to soothe. And once the relationship is at a stable place again, they can go back and now feel their emotions again and realize that they actually still don't feel heard. That thing that caused them hurt in the first place, the reason why they were actually lashing out, has not been addressed. And that can cause them to burst out in anger again or to withdraw. This cycle is very damaging, not only to the romantic relationships of the fearful avoidants, but often to their work life and sometimes even to their personal life in relationships with their family and friends. Now, it also hurts their self-esteem and makes them feel like they cannot ever have a deep, meaningful relationship with anybody because they keep getting the same results and they do not know how to change that. They often want to control their anger. Sometimes they even do yoga, meditation, breath work, and they still feel like anger is this tricky thing that they cannot control. And it's very demoralizing for them, maybe sometimes even shameful, because most probably somewhere along in their past, they had a person who was extremely angry with them or acted out of anger towards them. Maybe they had a person who was abusive towards them and they really don't want to be like that. They often tell me that they are scared that they are hurting their partner. They often ask me, am I a narcissist? Am I a bad person? Because I have these anger flare-ups. And they sometimes even want to end their relationships because they feel like they cannot control their anger and they don't want to put their partner through this. So this is not every single fearful avoidant. Please remember that we are working on a spectrum. I am talking about people who are now healing in relationships. There are, of course, people who do not want to heal, who are so hurt in their own lives that they do not know that they can even heal, and they will go about their life just perpetuating that trauma, because what we do not heal, we do repeat. I do not know who said that, but please feel free to quote them or name them down below in those comments. So understand that anger is this very, very important emotion that we all have, and it is an emotion that signifies a boundary. When we get irritated, frustrated, annoyed, hurt, it is an indication that we have to speak up for ourselves and set a boundary. Often fearful avoidants don't do that. They have these small little hurts that come up, or they have these moments when their boundaries get broken, and instead of addressing it when this situation is at a 2 out of 10, they wait until there is this massive avalanche of anger, and then they explode in anger. So throughout the day, the week, the month, however long they take before they become volatile, they try to people please, appease, be kind, overcompensate, and they are disconnected from themselves. And this is the number one component that contributes to this pattern, is self-abandonment. Self-abandonment means that the fearful avoidant is not in touch with their emotions, their needs, and their boundaries moment to moment as they are happening right now. What this means is that they can sometimes agree to things. Say, for example, their colleague asks them, hey, can you finish this work for me? And instead of considering themselves and think, whoa, no, I have this pile of work here, or actually I have my kid's birthday dinner, or my partner's taking me away, or I'm just tired and I don't feel like it. Instead of considering themselves, they will over-consider other people. They will abandon themselves and prioritize another person's needs. And they will usually say, yes, sure, I will do this for you. And in the moment, they might really believe that this is cool for me. I really want to be a helpful person. I understand that Susie's got a full schedule, or she's going through a divorce, or she's got this gym class that she wants to go to, or whatever it is, right? So they over-consider the other person and under-consider themselves. So these are the first 2 points that constitutes to this problem, is self-abandonment and self-betrayal. Self-abandonment means I'm out of touch with my own feelings and needs. Self-betrayal is I'm prioritizing everybody else's needs above my own. How did this come to be? When the fearful avoidant was growing up, there was chaos all around them. So they didn't have the opportunity to actually connect with themselves. Instead, they had to disconnect from themselves and try and figure out their environment. How is their mom doing? How is their dad doing? How is their sibling doing? Or if they were at boarding school, maybe they had to figure out how their teachers were doing, or the kids, or whatever it is. Whoever was the threat in their environment. Because fearful avoidants have learned that I love these people, but I'm also scared of the people who I love. They can be sometimes scary. And because of that fear, they became hyper-vigilant. They learned to attune to everybody else's feelings. They will know how you're feeling before you know how you're feeling. And they will definitely know how you're feeling before they know how they are feeling. Sometimes it takes a fearful avoidant a couple of minutes, a couple of hours, and sometimes even a day or a week to realize how they felt in a certain situation. And this can be so confusing, not only to the fearful avoidant, but also to their partners and to the people in their lives. Because the fearful avoidant will often agree to things in this moment, and then later on, they will say, oh, but I went to this dinner with you and I'm sacrificing so much for you. And their partner will be like, hey, I really don't want you to betray yourself or abandon yourself to be in this relationship. And the partner starts to feel bad and feel very confused. Like, where is this coming from? I didn't want you to do that. If you don't want to do something, please tell me and I'll respect your boundaries. But often the fearful avoidant in the moment is not aware of that. And this is the tricky part, and this has to be healed, right? This disembodiment, where they often are outside of their body, can be healed through yoga, meditation, breath work, learning how to connect with themselves. Also, emotional regulation skills. I love DBT. It's absolutely amazing. Dialectical Behavior Therapy by Marsha Linehan is a very powerful tool. It's a great starting point for us, or for all fearful avoidants, or anybody who wants to improve their emotional regulation skills, to start and understand their own connection between thoughts, emotions, and how to be present in the moment. And this is something fearful avoidants have to start practicing. I know a lot of fearful avoidants who go to yoga, or are yoga teachers, or meditation teachers, but still are disembodied. They still abandon their emotional core. And the reason for this is that a lot of people don't know that our emotional core, our inner child, needs our tending to moment by moment. We have to be in touch with ourselves all the time. Right? So a lot of people will come to me and tell me like, oh, I've done a inner child workshop. Okay, great. That is a great starting point. However, if you have a child, if you have an infant, you have to take care of that infant 24/7, 365 a year. And for a fearful avoidant, this might sound like, whoa, that's a lot. Like, what am I going to do? How am I going to connect with myself so deeply and so intensely? I promise you, after some time, it's not going to be that intense. And when you see the benefit of being connected to yourself and speaking up about how you feel, what you need, and the boundaries that you need to set, or the requests that you have for people, you're going to be less volatile. Because moment by moment, you're going to be addressing your emotions where they are at a level 2 out of 10, instead of building up to this massive energy of avalanche and just flattening you and the people that you love in your life and taking you through that anger and shame cycle. So the first step is to connect with yourself, stop abandoning your own emotional body, okay, through DBT or the nonviolent communication model, which I really, really love. Or, of course, come to see me as a coach or any coach that you like out there. A therapist would be great. And start to understand emotional regulation. Then stop prioritizing everybody else and start to consider yourself. Okay, when somebody asks you for something, consider yourself now and in the future. Project yourself into the future and think, okay, if I help Susie with her work today, what does it mean for me tomorrow, the next week, a month from now? Can I do that? Is that in my capacity? If somebody breaks your boundary now, set a boundary right now. Speak to them and say like, hey, you know what? This thing that you said to me right now, or when you called me a biatch, you know what? I don't really like that type of slang. I would just prefer that you call me by my name, or you can call me sweetie or lovely or something like that. But I think like using that type of language is just not, it doesn't feel good to me. How do you feel about that? When you address something at like a 2 out of 10, it is much easier. A lot of fearful avoidants will not want to do this because they have a fear of abandonment. They have a fear of rejection. And the other thing here that a lot of people on the internet do not discuss is that fearful avoidants often fear setting boundaries because they are afraid that they will be attacked if they had an abusive childhood. All right? So that is something that has to be worked through. That is something that you have to realize, that if somebody abused you in the past and now you're in a supermarket or you're speaking to a friend over a text, they are not going to attack you. That horrible thing that happened in the past, it's not going to happen in this moment. So this is that unresolved trauma that can be flooding into these moments and influencing your life. Whether it's through that fear of abandonment, that if I speak up about my feelings and my needs and my boundaries, people are going to leave. And let me tell you, if that happens, if people leave, well done, because that is exactly why you have boundaries. This is exactly why you want to stand up for yourself, because you do not want people that are not aligned with you, that want to use you or abuse you in your life. This is what boundaries do. It helps you to get rid of people who are not suitable for you, helps you to protect yourself. And honey, you deserve to protect yourself after everything that you have been through in your life. All right? So speak up when there is a slight irritation. Every single day, you're going to have to learn how to connect with your body and your emotions. This brings me to the next part. Number 3 is self-gaslighting. A lot of fearful avoidants have been gaslit in the past. So sometimes this comes from parents, Boarding schools are notorious for this with kids or sometimes the teachers. And sometimes siblings can also gaslight us, right? Gaslighting is not necessarily a sign of narcissism. Yes, it is extremely toxic, but it is often something that gets passed down from generation to generation to generation. And it is these phrases, and it's like this hard upbringing, especially like Eastern Europe where I'm from. You know, we were taught to like, don't be too sensitive. Why do you have to always make a big deal about something? Can you just suck it up? Stop complaining, stop being a sissy. Okay, all of those type of messagings when you were trying to stand up for yourself and set a boundary. If you got programmed all of this into your head, you will still have that in your mind. And you gaslight yourself now when you find that slight discomfort comes up, right? Susie asks you, hey, can you stay after work and help me with this project? And inside of you, like, oh, I really don't feel like it. Instead of addressing that right then and saying, you know what, I don't feel like I will be able to give you my full brain power right now. I need to go home and rest. Thanks for understanding. Not leaving that up for debate, right? This is a boundary saying, thank you for understanding and getting out of there. If you do not set that boundary now, and then Susie is like, okay, you are asking Susie to help you with her work, with your work. And then Susie says, no, I'm going out, or you know what, I'm tired, I don't feel like it. You are going to get 10 times more furious because you have abandoned yourself. You have betrayed yourself so many times in the past to help her. But now she's got a boundary. She's not helping you. And this is going to drive you absolutely insane. Right? So spot all of these things when I'm self-abandoning, self-betraying, and then I'm gaslighting myself when all of these little discomforts are coming up, and then I tell myself, oh, a nice person would just do it. Why do you have to be so difficult? You will end up without having any friends because you are just so difficult. Just spot all of those things because they are setting you up to be volatile in the future. Another thing is when fearful avoidants, this is number 4 by the way, fearful avoidants get involved with people who are sometimes selfish for various reasons. Maybe they are more on the very far avoidance side of the spectrum and they do not want to heal. And they're narcissistic, right? So fearful avoidants sometimes do unfortunately repeat our past like everybody else does. So they get into these types of relationship where they are the ones over showing up. Or there's another word that I'm trying to get to. It's going to come to me just now. And their partner or other people in their life are not showing up, right? And they have these asymmetrical relationships. And they, instead of taking space from those relationships, protecting themselves, they are in those relationships. And they're trying to teach those people how to treat them differently. And that will cause you to lose your mind. All right? So to wrap it all up, anger is a very powerful emotion. Learn to address the tiny little hurts and the fear underneath the anger. There is fear and hurt. Speak about that. Speak about those vulnerable feelings to people. Protect those feelings by setting boundaries in the moment so that it doesn't build up and create this massive avalanche. So catch the little rock as it comes instead of the pile of rocks later on that is going to flatten you in the relationship, to beat that metaphor to death for what it's worth. Then connect with yourself as best as you can. Stop abandoning, stop betraying yourself. And if you are a partner of a fearful avoidant, you can say to them, I would rather want to know every time when you're a little bit upset and we can sort it out instead of you waiting and sitting on all this stuff and then it piles up and we have this massive fight. If you're the partner of a fearful avoidant, also very lovingly and gently you can set a boundary saying, hey, you know what? I know you're going through this and I know you're trying to heal through this and it's really difficult for you. I want to help you, but I cannot be in a room when you are swearing at me or when you're chronically breaking up with me every single weekend, or if there is shouting. If any of these things happen, I am going to have to remove myself. Or if you break up with me the next time, please know that this is the last time that we are going to break up. I do not take this lightly. It is something that is going to end the relationship. So please know that, and let's please discuss all of these things as they are coming up. Okay? So I hope this helped you. If you have any questions or comments, please put them down below. I love hearing from you. Thank you for liking and subscribing to this channel. Thank you so much for sharing these videos, and I hope to see you in the next one. Big love.